When it comes to Republican Congressman George Santos's campaign spending, there are a lot of fishy expenses. There's the $40,000 spent on air travel in a local election. There's the $30,000 spent on hotels in places like Tennessee, Virginia, Texas, Florida, California, Kansas, and Michigan, again, in a local New York election. And the $11,000 that appears to have potentially paid for Santos's own rent during his campaign. But the expenses of Santos that campaign finance experts say raised the most red flags are the more than 30 expenses that came out to a total of $199.99, a convenient single penny short of the $200 threshold where the FEC requires you to keep your receipts to prove you actually spent the campaign money how you claimed. Now, most of these $199.99 expenses claim to be from places like Best Buy or Staples or Uber, where there's an infinite number of possibilities as to exactly what Santos or his team were buying or how far his drive was. But 7 of those miraculously $199.99 charges were supposedly at this Italian restaurant in Little Neck, Queens. So what are the odds of getting that exact tab there? Thanks to some intrepid reporting by Slate's Alexander Salmon, we now know they are not good. Last night, Alex ate dinner at this Italian restaurant with the explicit target of trying to get a bill there of $199.99, Santos style. His orders of olives and cheeses and squash blossoms and pasta and a martini were not because that's what he wanted to eat, but because he was specifically crafting his order to get as close as possible to that magic number on the Santos bill. And even with that much effort, Alex could not do it. His bill came out to $194.89, and with tip, it blew well past the $200 FEC threshold. Today, a watchdog organization called Accountable.us filed a complaint against George Santos with the FEC, alleging he misused campaign funds for personal expenses. That's the second FEC complaint filed against Santos this week. That comes on top of 8 of his fellow Republicans in Congress calling on him to resign this week, and his local Nassau County Republican Party telling him explicitly that he's not welcome at any of their events, and they want him to resign as well. Now, that is all well and good. But here is what I don't quite get. Why is the entire political world treating George Santos and his lies as such an anomaly? Why are we acting like he's that different to a whole host of other Republican politicians? Take former President Trump, who lied about everything, not just the size of his rallies or the election result, but personal stuff, Santos-style stuff. For example, falsely claiming he was top of his class at Wharton Business School. He wasn't. And inflating the size of his wealth and the value of his properties. He literally lied more than 30,000 times while in office. Former North Carolina GOP Congressman Madison Cawthorn, remember him? He lied about getting into the U.S. Naval Academy. Former Georgia Republican Senate candidate Herschel Walker, he lied about being a police officer. Most Republicans that ran for statewide office last year have publicly stated that they believe the big lie that Trump somehow actually won the 2020 election. I could really go on, but you get the point. The MAGA-led Republican Party today is filled with serial fabulists. And why wouldn't it be? It's the logical endpoint of being a party totally in hock to one Donald J. Trump. Tonight, the New York Times is out with new reporting that as early as November of 2021, a small circle of Republican campaigners found out that Santos's backstory was riddled with lies. The Times reports that in December of 2021, Santos's vendors had an emergency conference call to present Mr. Santos with a choice: bow out of the race with dignity or stay in and risk letting Democrats turn up the same information and use it to destroy his political and personal future. When Santos then refused to resign, most of his team quit. That was a year before Santos got elected to Congress. And somehow none of the Republicans who were in the know that he was a fraud thought it would be a good idea to speak up. That says less about Santos and more about the state of the Republican Party. In the words of my friend, the journalist Wajahat Ali, George Santos is right where he belongs.